The red dust of Mars swirled around Dr. James Miller's boots as he made his way across the excavation site. His heart beat faster with each step. After 3 years of digging in this remote valley, his team had finally found something that would change everything. Dr. Miller called out Emma from the entrance of the newly uncovered chamber. "You need to see this right now." He quickened his pace, checking the seals on his environment suit one last time before ducking into the dark opening. The beam from his helmet light cut through the darkness, revealing walls covered in strange symbols that seemed to pulse with a faint blue glow. "It's not just the markings," Emma said, her voice filled with excitement. "Look at this." She pointed her light at a crystalline structure emerging from the center of the chamber floor. Miller approached it carefully. The crystal formation rose about waist-high, its surface perfectly smooth despite being buried for what must have been millions of years. As he got closer, the crystal began to emit a soft hum. "Don't touch it," Emma warned, but she was too late. Miller's gloved hand had already made contact with the surface. The humming grew louder, and suddenly, the entire chamber lit up with a brilliant blue light. Patterns of energy raced across the walls, forming images that moved like a video playing on ancient screens. "My God," Miller whispered as he watched the story unfold before them. The images showed beings of pure energy creating something, creating humans. They watched as these beings manipulated DNA strands, tested different combinations, and finally produced the first modern humans. But there was more. The images showed humans being trained, enhanced, prepared for something. "They made us," Emma said, her voice barely a whisper. "We're not natural evolution at all. We're engineered." Miller stood frozen, watching as the final images played out. They showed the beings suddenly abandoning their work, leaving Earth in massive ships. The last image was a warning symbol, pulsing red. Their suit radios crackled. "Base to excavation team. We're picking up some strange energy readings from your location. Everything okay down there?" Before either of them could answer, the crystal released a pulse of energy that spread out in all directions. Both scientists checked their suit readings, but everything appeared normal. "We're fine, Base," Miller responded. "But you better get the whole team down here. And contact Earth. They're going to want to see this." Within hours, the chamber was crawling with researchers. More crystals were discovered, each containing different pieces of humanity's true history. Miller worked tirelessly, translating the symbols, understanding more with each passing hour. But as the truth became clearer, he noticed something disturbing. Government officials were arriving, taking control of different sections of the site. Information was being classified as soon as it was discovered. Late that night, alone in his research tent, Miller received an urgent message from Emma. "They're shutting us down," she wrote. "They're calling it a matter of global security. But there's something else. Reports coming in from Earth. People are changing." Miller opened his laptop and saw the news reports. Around the world, people were developing strange abilities. Enhanced strength, improved healing, heightened senses. The pulse from the crystal had done something, activated something lying dormant in human DNA. As he read report after report, his own hands began to tingle. Looking down, he watched as faint blue lines appeared under his skin, tracing patterns that matched the symbols in the chamber. The truth couldn't be hidden now. Humanity had been forgotten by design, left behind by their creators. But now, after millions of years, the abandoned project was waking up. And somewhere in the darkness of space, something was coming. Something that humanity had been designed to face. Miller closed his laptop and looked up at the stars visible through his tent skylight. For the first time in human history, they knew their true purpose. They just had to survive long enough to fulfill it. 2 weeks after the discovery on Mars, Miller sat in his small apartment, watching the blue lines pulse beneath his skin. The changes weren't just visible anymore. He could feel them. His mind worked faster, his body felt stronger, and sometimes he knew things he shouldn't know. The TV played in the background, showing more reports of similar changes worldwide. Another incident today in London, the reporter said, where a young man lifted a crashed car to save a trapped family. Military forces arrived shortly after, but the individual had already fled the scene. Miller's phone buzzed. A message from Emma. They're taking people. Meet me at the old warehouse. Bringing others. Hurry. He grabbed his backpack, already packed for this possibility, and headed out. The streets were quieter than usual. Military vehicles patrolled regularly now, and people stayed inside when they could. At the warehouse, Miller found Emma with 3 others. Mark Thompson, a construction worker whose skin now showed the same blue lines. Alice Cooper, a teacher who could somehow read ancient languages she'd never studied. And Tom Wilson, a mechanic who could understand and repair technology that shouldn't even exist. They took Robert from the lab today, Emma said, her face tight with worry. They're calling us activated now. General Pierce is leading the operation to round us up for study and containment. We can't let them catch us, Mark said, his hands clenching. I've seen what they do in those facilities. A loud bang echoed outside. Through the warehouse windows, they saw military vehicles surrounding the building. This is General Richard Pierce, a voice boomed through speakers. We know you're in there. Come out peacefully. We only want to help you understand what's happening to you. Miller looked at the others. There's something you need to know. I've been having dreams, but they're not dreams. They're memories built into our DNA. The predecessors left us because something was coming, something they couldn't fight. And they left us to face it. Alice asked. No, Miller said. They left us because we were too dangerous. The changes we're experiencing now, they're just the beginning. We were designed to adapt, to evolve rapidly in the face of threats. The predecessors were afraid of what we might become. The sound of boots on gravel came from all sides of the warehouse. We need to make a choice, Emma said. Right now. Miller nodded and raised his hand. The blue lines glowed brighter, and suddenly he could sense the building's old electrical systems. With a thought, he overloaded them all at once, plunging the area into darkness. Move, he shouted. They ran through the chaos, each of them discovering new abilities as the danger pushed them. Mark's enhanced strength let him clear obstacles. Alice somehow knew exactly which way to go. Tom disabled the military vehicles with just a touch. As they escaped into the night, Miller saw more blue lights in windows and alleys. Others like them, hiding, waiting. The awakening was spreading. In the distance, a massive shape appeared in the sky. A military aircraft unlike anything they'd seen before. They're using recovered technology from the Mars site, Emma said. But we can't let them catch us. There's something bigger coming, isn't there? Miller nodded as they ran. The harvesters. That's what the memories call them. And we're the only ones ready to fight them. Above them, stars twinkled in the night sky. Somewhere up there, humanity's greatest threat was approaching. But this time, Earth wouldn't be defenseless. The abandoned weapons were waking up, and they were more powerful than their creators ever imagined. They just had to survive long enough to learn how to use their powers, and stay free from those who would cage them. The hunt was on. The first attack came without warning. A massive black ship appeared over Tokyo, its surface covered in shifting patterns of red light. Miller watched the news footage from the group's hidden base in an abandoned subway station. It's happening, he said to Emma, who stood beside him. They're here. The harvester ship released hundreds of smaller craft that descended on the city. They weren't interested in buildings or infrastructure. They were hunting people. Look at their tactics, Mark said, pointing at the screen. They're trying to capture, not kill. The world's military forces fought back, but their weapons seemed useless against the alien ship's shields. Jets fell from the sky, tanks stood useless, and soldiers could only watch as people were taken. Then something unexpected happened. A group of activated humans emerged from hiding. The blue lines on their skin glowed bright as they faced the alien hunters. One woman raised her hands, and lightning arced from her fingers, shorting out a hunter's shields. Another man touched a fallen tank, and suddenly he could control it with his mind, using it to shoot down the smaller ships. "They're adapting," Emma said excitedly. "Just like us. Each activated person is developing exactly what they need to fight back." Miller's phone buzzed. A message from General Pierce. "We need to talk. The President has ordered a change in policy. The activated are now Earth's best defense. After 3 months of hunting them, the military wanted their help." Miller looked at his team. They nodded. Hours later, they sat in a Pentagon war room. Screens showed more harvester ships appearing over major cities worldwide. "We've translated more of their communications," General Pierce said, looking older and tired. "They're not just random attackers. They're harvesting humans for genetic material. They want what makes us special. The adaptation ability," Miller said. "They want to steal it." "Exactly. And we need your help to stop them. We found more ruins, like the ones on Mars. There might be weapons or technology we can use." Emma spread out photos of new dig sites. "These ruins are different. They're not just storage or research facilities. They're military bases." A loud alarm blared. One of the screens showed a massive ship, bigger than all the others, entering Earth's atmosphere. "Their command ship," Pierce said grimly. "They're escalating." Miller stood up. "We'll help, but on our terms. No more hunting activated humans. No more experiments. We work together, or not at all." Pierce nodded. "Agreed. What's your plan?" "The ruins in South America," Miller said, pointing to the photos. "They're not just a base. They're a training facility. The predecessors left everything we need to learn how to use our abilities. We just need time to access it." The building shook as something exploded nearby. Through the windows, they could see harvester ships approaching Washington. "Time is something we don't have," Pierce said. Miller's blue lines glowed brighter. "Then we'll have to learn fast." He turned to Emma and the others. "Ready?" They nodded, their own markings beginning to glow. Outside, the harvesters were meeting unexpected resistance. All over the world, activated humans were fighting back, each developing new abilities as they faced the threat. Some could fly, others could control energy, and some could even predict the enemy's moves. The harvesters had come to steal humanity's potential. Instead, they had triggered it. As Miller led his team out to join the fight, he remembered the warning symbols from Mars. Now he understood. The predecessors hadn't abandoned humanity because they were afraid of the enemy. They were afraid of what humanity would become when faced with real danger. And they were about to find out just how right they were to be afraid. The real war was just beginning. Deep beneath the Andes Mountains, Miller watched as hundreds of activated humans trained in the ancient facility. The massive underground chamber hummed with energy, its walls glowing with the same blue light that now ran through their veins. "The translation is complete," Emma said, walking up to him with a glowing data crystal. "This place wasn't just for training. It was designed to accelerate our evolution." Below them, Mark guided a group through combat exercises. Some practiced controlling energy weapons left by the predecessors, while others learned to enhance their natural abilities. The air crackled with power as they worked. "How many bases have we found now?" Miller asked, his eyes tracking the training sessions. 7, Emma replied. 3 in South America, 2 in Asia, 1 in Africa, and the one under Antarctica. Each one is different, teaching different skills. But they're all connected. Tom appeared from one of the side chambers, his hands covered in strange symbols that faded as he approached. "You need to see this," he said excitedly. "I've got the ancient defense systems working." They followed him to a huge circular room filled with holographic displays. The images showed Earth, the approaching harvester fleets, and something else. A network of hidden satellites that had orbited silently for millions of years. "The predecessors didn't leave us completely defenseless," Tom explained. "They left us tools. We just had to become advanced enough to use them." A loud alarm echoed through the facility. Alice's voice came over the intercom. Harvester ships approaching. They found us. Miller rushed to the command center, where Alice sat surrounded by holographic screens. How many? 5 capital ships, she answered. But something's wrong. They're not attacking. They're watching. Emma studied the readings. They're scanning the mountain. They know what this place is. Everyone to battle stations. Miller ordered through the facility's communication system. This is what we've been training for. The activated humans moved with practiced efficiency, taking positions throughout the base. Weeks of preparation had turned them into a coordinated force. But instead of attacking, the harvester ships held their position. A transmission came through on all frequencies. "We know what you are," a strange mechanical voice said. "We know who made you. The predecessors took everything from us, turned us into what we are now. We will take everything from their new children as well." Miller's hands clenched. They're not just here for our abilities, he realized. They want revenge on the predecessors, and we're their targets. Base 6 reports similar ships over Africa. Alice called out. Base 4 in Asia is surrounded too. They're hitting all the facilities at once. They're trying to stop us from learning more, Emma said, from becoming stronger. Miller looked at the assembled fighters, their blue markings glowing bright with power. But they're too late. We've already learned enough. He stepped onto a platform, and his consciousness connected with the facility's systems. Through the neural interface, he could feel every defender, sense their readiness. The predecessors abandoned both of us. He transmitted back to the harvester ships. But we chose to become more than our creators intended. You chose to become less. The harvesters' response was immediate. Their ships opened fire, energy weapons striking the mountain. But the ancient shields held. And beneath them, humanity's defenders were ready. All bases, launch counterattack, Miller commanded. Show them what the Forgotten Ones can do. The battle for the underground bases began. But this time, humanity wasn't fighting alone. They had the tools of their creators, the strength of their evolution, and most importantly, they had each other. The harvesters were about to learn why the predecessors had feared human potential so much. The underground was going to rise. The fleet of recovered predecessor ships rose from their hidden bases across Earth, their hulls gleaming with the same blue energy that marked the activated humans. In the lead ship's command center, Miller stood before a holographic display of their target, the main harvester staging area on the far side of the moon. All ships report ready, Emma said from her station. Her fingers danced over the ancient controls as if she'd been born to use them. The neural interfaces are stable. Everyone's connected. Through the ship's systems, Miller could feel the presence of every activated human in the fleet. Their shared consciousness hummed with determination and power. This would be humanity's first major offensive against the harvesters. General Pierce reports Earth's conventional forces are in position. Tom called out. They're ready to provide backup. Miller nodded. Begin the attack sequence. All ships, advance. The fleet moved as one, crossing the space between Earth and Moon in minutes using technology that humanity was never meant to have, but they had evolved beyond their original design. The ships responded to their thoughts as naturally as their own bodies. The harvesters detected them too late. By the time their defense systems activated, the human fleet was already among them. They're launching fighters, Alice reported from her tactical station. Hundreds of them. Show them what we've learned, Miller commanded. The battle erupted in the space around the moon. But this time was different. Each activated human had evolved specific abilities that complemented the ancient technology. Some could predict enemy movements before they happened. Others could mentally link multiple ships together, combining their power. Mark's voice came over the command channel. Miller, we're seeing something strange. The harvester ships, they're trying to adapt like we do, but they can't do it fast enough. Miller watched as a harvester capital ship attempted to modify its shields against their weapons. The changes were slow, mechanical. Nothing like the instant adaptations that humans could achieve. That's why they want our abilities, Emma realized. Their own adaptation power is artificial, copied from somewhere else. Ours is natural, built into our DNA. A massive explosion lit up the lunar surface as the first harvester base fell. Along with it went decades of stored genetic samples they had stolen from countless worlds. They're falling back, Alice reported. Their entire fleet is retreating. But Miller noticed something in the neural link. A feeling of wrong, of danger. Wait, he said. Some things. A space ahead of them tore open. A wormhole, larger than any they'd seen before, appeared among the retreating harvester ships. Through it came a signal that made every activated human gasp. It's like the one from Mars, Emma whispered, but much stronger. The signal carried images, memories. Miller saw through the eyes of the predecessors as they discovered the harvester's own creators. As they fought a war across galaxies. As they realized they needed to create something new, something that could adapt faster than any threat. They needed to create humans. All ships, fall back to Earth, Miller ordered. The harvester reinforcements are coming. We've won this battle, but we need to prepare for what's next. As the fleet retreated, Miller looked at the data from the signal. The predecessors hadn't just made humans as weapons. They had made them as an answer to a question. What happens when you create life that can evolve faster than the universe can throw threats at it? They were about to find out. The wormhole was growing larger, and through the neural link, every activated human could sense what was coming. The real test of humanity's potential was about to begin. The counterattack had succeeded, but it had also triggered something bigger than they had imagined. The endgame was approaching. The predecessor ship appeared in Earth's orbit without warning. Unlike the angular, aggressive designs of the harvester ships, this vessel was smooth and elegant, its surface rippling with patterns of pure light. Miller watched it from the command center of their lunar base, his heart pounding. After millions of years, Emma breathed. They finally come back. The ship's presence triggered something in their enhanced DNA. Every activated human felt a pull, a connection to their creators. But with it came something unexpected. Anger. They're requesting to land, Alice reported. They want to meet. The world's governments argued about how to respond, but the activated humans already knew. This meeting was inevitable. It was written in their genes. 3 hours later, Miller stood in the ancient facility beneath the Andes, watching as the predecessor delegation arrived. They were beings of pure energy, their forms barely held together in containment suits that made them look almost human. Our creation, their leader spoke, its voice resonating directly in their minds. You have exceeded all parameters. You mean we survived being abandoned, Miller replied coldly. Through the neural link, he could feel the anger of other activated humans watching through his eyes. You were not abandoned, the predecessor said. You were protected, hidden. The harvesters have been searching for you since your creation. Emma stepped forward. We found the truth in your ruins. You left because you were afraid of us, of what we might become. The predecessor's form flickered. Yes, your potential for adaptation was beyond our calculations. We created you to fight the harvesters, but you began to evolve faster than we could control. The power in your genes, it could reshape reality itself. A warning alarm blared through the facility. Tom's voice came over the comms. Multiple wormholes opening. The harvester main fleet is here. The predecessor leader turned to its delegation. They followed us. We led them right to you. Miller connected to the base's systems, watching as thousands of harvester ships emerged from wormholes all around Earth. This was their full force, more ships than they had ever seen before. Help us fight them, Miller said to the predecessors. You created us for this. But the energy beings were already retreating to their ship. This battle is beyond even us now. The harvesters have evolved too, using genetic material stolen from countless worlds. We cannot face what they've become. So you'll abandon us again. Emma's voice shook with rage. The blue lines on her skin pulsed brightly. The predecessor leader paused. No, we came to warn you. The harvesters don't just want your adaptation ability now. They want revenge on us. Through you. They will not stop until every trace of our work is erased from the galaxy. As the predecessors departed, Miller felt something changing in the neural link connecting all activated humans. Their anger at being abandoned was transforming into something else. Determination. They created us as weapons, he said to Emma as they watched the predecessor ship vanish into space. But we've become something more, something they never expected. Through the facility's viewers, they could see harvester ships entering the atmosphere. The final battle was about to begin. But this time, humanity wasn't fighting for their creators. They weren't fighting because they were designed to. They were fighting for themselves, for their right to exist, to evolve, to become whatever they chose to be. The predecessors had returned only to flee again, but their abandoned creation was about to show both their creators and their enemies exactly what humanity had become. The sky darkened with harvester ships, and below, millions of blue lights began to glow as activated humans prepared for the fight of their lives. The time for running was over. The time for standing had come. The sky above Earth burned. Thousands of harvester ships filled the atmosphere, their weapons turning clouds into fire. But they weren't the only lights in the darkness. Below them, millions of blue lights shone from every city, every town, as activated humans prepared for the final battle. In the Andes Command Center, Miller connected to the neural network one last time. He felt the presence of every defender, their minds linked, their powers combined. They had evolved far beyond what anyone, even their creators, had imagined. All bases report ready, Emma said, her voice steady despite the chaos outside. The predecessor defense satellites are online. Through the facility's screens, they watched as humanity launched its defense. Military forces worked alongside activated humans, their strategies perfectly coordinated through the neural link. Each person knew exactly where they needed to be, what they needed to do. The harvesters struck first, their weapons more powerful than ever before. But something unexpected happened. As each attack came, humans adapted faster than ever. Shields appeared out of nowhere. Powers combined in new ways. Each defeat only made them stronger. They're trying to land ground forces, Tom reported from his station. Multiple drop sites worldwide. Miller watched through 1,000 eyes as harvester troops encountered Earth's defenders. The aliens were biotechnology-made flesh, twisted creations of stolen genetics. But against the pure adaptability of human DNA, they stood no chance. Mark's voice came through the neural link. Miller, something's happening to us. The adaptation, it's accelerating. He was right. With every passing minute, activated humans were evolving faster. Some could now control gravity itself. Others could manipulate time in small areas. Powers combined and multiplied as humanity's potential fully awakened. The Harvester command ship, larger than a city, moved into position above the Andes. Their leader's voice boomed across all frequencies. You could have been our salvation. Now you will share the fate of your creators. The massive ship charged its main weapon, a beam that could crack a planet. But Miller felt no fear. Through the neural link, he sensed what was about to happen. All activated humans, he broadcasted, remember what we are. Not weapons, not tools. We are the next step. Show them what that means. As one, millions of enhanced humans focused their power. The blue energy that marked them flowed upward, combining into a wave of pure adaptive force. Reality itself seemed to bend. The harvester weapon fired. The energy wave met it. And in that moment, humanity changed forever. The beam didn't just stop, it transformed. The raw power was absorbed, adapted, and turned back on the harvesters. But it wasn't destruction they faced, it was change. Through the neural link, Miller sent them the truth. You wanted our power. Here it is. The power to choose what you become. The energy wave washed over the harvester ships. Where it touched, their twisted biotechnology began to heal. The genetic damage of centuries of modification began to repair itself. The harvesters themselves began to change, their forms shifting as the adaptability they had sought for so long finally reached them. The battle ended not with destruction, but with transformation. The harvesters, their bodies and ships now marked with the same blue lines as humanity, laid down their weapons. In orbit, the predecessor ship reappeared. Their creators watched in awe as their abandoned experiment surpassed everything they had intended. "We were never meant to be weapons," Miller said to both their creators and former enemies. "We were meant to be the answer, the bridge between what is and what could be." The war was over. The human experiment was complete, but humanity's true story was just beginning. They had been forgotten by design, but they would be remembered by choice, and their legacy would change the universe forever.